worldwide to raise revenue and promote economic development, as domestic revenue mobilization is key to sustainable development globally. Generally, the productivity of the Nigerian tax system has not been encouraging, mainly due to the low level of voluntary tax compliance. Consequently, the government has over time embarked on various tax reforms to ensure maximum performance of the tax system for better economic outcomes. Over the past decade and a half, the government has attempted major tax reforms informed by the realization of the glaring inequalities and inefficiencies that have resulted from imposing high rates on constricted tax bases under complex legislation in the face of weak tax administration. Under such circumstances, the tax policies, redistributive, developmental, and revenue became largely unrealizable. The tax bills which have held have invariably divided lawmakers and state governors from the North. The rift deepened last week, Thursday, in the Senate when the leadership of the upper legislative chamber denied that deliberation on the bills had been suspended indefinitely, as earlier reported in the media. Ordinarily, matters of tax reforms are consequential, with profound, far reaching positive implications for the economy. However, that has not been the case with the tax reform bills. Issues relating to fiscal federalism and socioeconomic balance should be the hallmarks of a meaningful tax regime, which Nigeria is in dire need of without denying any part of the country or states their fair share of revenue accruing from tax collection. Indeed, taxation has for decades been a controversial matter in the country. That makes reform aimed at correcting such structural imbalance, particularly the over-reliance on oil revenue, a step in the right direction. According to the federal government, one of the main targets of the proposed tax reforms is to achieve a minimum of 18% tax to GDP ratio within the next 3 years. Currently, Nigeria's tax to GDP ratio is between 6.7% and 10.8%. This is regarded to be one of the lowest in the world, even in Africa. Disagreement is bound to happen, but what is crucial is consensus in the best interest of the country and the citizens. It should not be for the benefit of the government alone in terms of revenue collection. Besides, public trust and transparency are key to ensuring inclusivity in the policy making process. Today, we shall be looking at the disadvantages and disadvantages of these tax reform bills. To join in the discourse, we shall be expecting to hear from you, our able callers out there, to share your opinion, your comments, as well as your as regards the advantages and disadvantages of tax reform bills. The numbers to call are 0803 437 9453 or 0815 032 0226.
It is good to be smart.
Yes, it is good to be smart.
It is a smart government that will tell the people, bring your taxes, and I will use your taxes to do this. And it will do it. Because when the people say what you're using their tax to do, they'll be motivated to do it.
Yes, they'll be inspired. Yes, they'll be inspired.
Now, it is also a smart set of people that will keep paying their taxes when they see their government making the best use of the taxes.
Exactly.
Now, the other time you talked about tax to GDP ratio. Now, that is a measure that compares a country's tax revenue to its gross domestic product. And that is saying the total tax collected by the government and the total value of goods and services produced in that country within a specific period of time, which is usually a year. Now, it is expressed as a percentage, and the importance is that it shows the income to fund public services, infrastructure, education, healthcare, provide people good roads, give them good water. Now, a higher ratio often suggests a stronger tax collection system and a higher government involvement in the economy. But then, you need to first of all assess what is the tax to GDP ratio of Nigeria compared to tax to GDP ratio of other nations, especially nations that we see doing very well. Now, when you were reading your figures, said between 6 and 10% is what Nigeria has had. And that is very abysmal. That is very, very low. Now, when you look at what that means, Nigeria's tax to GDP ratio is relatively low at approximately 10.8% thereabout. That was a figure given in 2023 last year. This indicates that the country collects a very small proportion of its GDP as taxes, which is not good for the country. It limits public spending, it limits the available funds or funding that we can have on expenditures, on infrastructure rather. Now, if you look at that in comparison relative to other nations, France, for instance, has a high tax to GDP ratio at about 45%. When Nigeria is still talking about 6% to 10%, tax has about 45%. Now, this reflects a robust tax collection system and significant government spending on public welfare, healthcare, and social services. So, where you now want to compare the living standard of those in a nation like France, they have public water running, they have good roads, they have good healthcare system in place, they have this and that. It's because of the tax to GDP ratio. It makes money available for the provision of these essential and basic facilities of life. So in all of these, we need to look at what Nigeria is able to generate from what you as a Nigerian, as a patron, is constitutionally supposed to pay to the government's coffers from what you make. Because if a nation is producing certain things and is not able to collect tax that is, that is at the same level at par with the kind of produce that is made, then it becomes a problem for the entire nation, not just for the government. Because if government is handicapped by lack of funds, what would they do?
Okay, we still have more to talk about. The benefits of tax reform bills, and to let our people know the benefits inherent in paying their taxes regularly.
Yes, the bill has been submitted by Mr. President. It's being debated right now, and hopefully to become law. We'll look at the strength and the weaknesses of that because many Nigerians have been talking about it.
Yes.
And we also want to hear from you what you think about that. Stay with us. This is 90.5 FM OGBC.
Ma.
Sorry for that mistake.
No
This is
problem.
Yinka from Kwari Road.
Good to have you, Ma.
Yeah, we're talking of taxes. Of all our life, there have been taxes paid for developmental purposes. My own area of discussion this morning is when the taxes are collected, are they rightly used?
Mm.
Do people see the effect of taxes on their lives? Are they effective in the bringing up developmental programs? Once these things are not looked into, people will not like to pay taxes. That's one. Number two, if you look at the way we pay tax here in the country, you discover that civil servants are those people actually pay taxes the way they should because they dump this money from their salaries. As a result, they can't escape it. What is happening to the big companies, the big rich people, are they taxed properly? Is another area. And again, I will ask, the different taxes they said they have given, how many people are actually paying them? When we look at these issues, we see that we find it very difficult to get the maximum advantages from taxes. They should be able to develop road, education, infrastructure, and other things from taxes collected. But where will they go to? Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Ekwemi. Yes, she asked a germane question that, okay, if Nigerians are paying taxes, are the taxes, are they really used for the purposes they were meant for? Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, Titilope.
Good morning, Mrs. Ojelade.
Compliment of the season.
I wish you all the same.
Oluranto Ojelade is my name.
Thank you for calling.
Ojelade, I want to portray what our darling grandma said. In fact, as she said, civil servants pay taxes because it's mandatory that it must be removed from their salary. But with this value added fact in most of the food and services, we are indirectly paying taxes. But as she said, see, we are tax evaders in this country. What cannot happen in the West? In those days, Jenny, because everything, anybody that evade tax will be punished. But we don't do that here. I think if that can be introduced in Nigeria, which I doubt it may happen because of Nigerian system, I think people will get it right that paying tax is part of life. Jesus too paid tax in the Bible. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you,
Thank you
Mrs.
very much.
Ojelade. Debo, you know, what's really in this tax reform bill? Let's take a look at that. You know, so many things are embedded in this, and you know, over 50 taxes are to be repealed, with remaining levies harmonized into a few number of taxes. Corporate income tax, let's take a look at that. Corporate income tax rates will reduce years, and end with a streamlined single levy. All the country's tax collection and administration systems, presenting an opportunity to create a more equitable and efficient taxation model. At the heart of the bill are transformative provisions such as revisions to the value-added tax, VAT, revenue sharing formula, and exemptions for small businesses and the average Nigerians. While these changes could potentially revitalize Nigeria's economy, they also expose critical issues within the country's federal structure, particularly the economic imbalances among regions, which include state and local government. Hello. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Chichi.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning, Debo.
Good morning, Elder. Good morning, sir.
Thank you. Wale Osheni is the name.
Welcome, sir.
Calling from Izaro. My own concern is that the rich are not paying taxes, it is the poor that are paying taxes in Nigeria. And you want to believe that the poor are part of the civil servants. It's not all the civil servants that are rich. Majority of the civil servants are poor. And they are the people paying taxes. The rich are not paying taxes at all. They are evading tax payments, and nobody will query them for it. I wouldn't know whether this tax reform bill would take care of that. Let us wait and see. If everybody will pay taxes as at when due, this country will be very, very much better for it. Goodbye.
Thank you very much. Now, one of the areas to really get interested in the bill, personal income tax will see a progressive reduction in rates. Now, if you earn annually, if you earn 300,000 naira below, you pay 7%. But now it's saying that if you earn 800,000 naira and below, you will not even pay. It is from 800,000 and above that you begin to pay. And it's so interesting to know that a glance at the two sets of rates, if you look at them from the lowest to the highest, people who earn 800,000 and below, they won't pay any tax, any personal income tax annually. Then the next will be 2.2 million naira and above annually. Those in that category will pay 15%. And then 9 million naira and above, those in that category will pay 18% personal income tax. And then 13 million naira, 21%, up to 50 million naira and above, those will pay 25%. Now, it used to be a lot more than that. And then a glance we show that currently a low-income earner who earns 25,000 naira monthly, for instance, that translates to 300,000 naira annually, is required to pay 7% income tax. But the new rate proposes that in the Nigeria tax bill, it is exempting those who earn less than 800,000 naira from paying any income tax, that is personal income tax. Now, considering more than 70% of Nigerians today do not even earn up to 800,000 naira annually, you realize that this bill is proper in its sense. Even though many people came up to argue with it, when they first submitted the bill on the 3rd of October in 2024, didn't take their time to read through it very well. That is why Nigerians have to take their time to study these things. Take your time to listen, to learn, to understand the spirit of any bill that is released before you begin to comment on them. It is important for everybody to understand why this is being released at this time, why it is being done at this time, and what is the objective of government. Now, for a long time, like Mr. Woshini said, many people who are supposed to be paying taxes in Nigeria, the rich, have not been paying. It is those that should have been exempted that have been paying. We have a guest, right?
Yes, joining us in the discourse this morning is our guest online, Dr. Kenny Shoyemi of Olabisi Onabanjo University. Good morning, Doctor.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, listeners. Good morning.
Thank you for joining us. So we are taking a look at the advantages and disadvantages of tax reform bill. One of the most contentious aspects of the reform is the proposed VAT revenue sharing formula. And under this new model, 60% of VAT revenue will be allocated to the states where goods and services were consumed, 20% distributed based on population, and the remaining 20% equally shared among all states. Will this tax reform bill impact small businesses and entrepreneurship?
Well, by way of introduction, I want to first of all apologize for joining late. And I just want to quickly have a balanced view, or let me say a bird's eye view of what tax system before you can talk of tax reform.
Okay.
It's very important that we do that.
Okay.
So we don't just jump the gun and start talking about tax reform for the benefit of our listeners.
Okay.
When you talk about tax, that is the levy, that is the compulsory payment that is imposed by laws to be paid, to be a good citizen and to live in a civil society. While the process of collecting this taxation or tax is actually referred to as taxation. That is how it's there's taxation is tax. Aside from that again, let me quickly say this. It is always a good thing that we learn from experience and bring up what can benefit uh, the tax system. For any country, the tax system is actually based on three triple stand. We have the tax policy, which is a document that will proceed. That's the first thing. That is where any nation will actually, codify what they want their tax system to look like. And what now gives teeth to the tax policy is the tax laws. And at the end of the day, who are going to now administer these are those who we call the tax administrators. And that's tax administrators. Those are the three things. Now, bringing in tax reform. Tax reform is not anything new. It is not that we are talking about tax reform. There are other areas that have been reformed. So it is now time for the tax system to be reformed. So in other words, when I say tax reform, we're actually referring to the three triple stand by way of how do we reform them to have a better efficiency in tax collection, to widen our tax base that is bringing in people that have not been paying tax nets. And aside from that, there should be efficiency in the collection and there should be that equality. Now, before I now go straight into that proper, a good tax system, from our days of secondary school must be certain. There are some characteristics that the good tax system must possess. Certainty, economy, and the rest of them. So, honestly, as it is, we have done, or let me say, the ad hoc committee has actually done a beautiful thing. More importantly, the person who actually chaired that committee is a tax expert by all standing. He has experience and exposure. So for me, the tax reform bill is a win-win. It's a win-win for the not only even for the medium MSMEs, not only for them, for everyone. You see, I don't want us to take a particular aspect and start talking about it. Even though I quickly have to say this that in the tax reform bill, there are some gray areas that I actually disagree with. Yes, I actually disagree with them. But by and large, a reform bill is out and is currently with National Assembly. So we should just do wider consultation and clear the gray areas. Are you telling me that where we are coming from is much more better? We should return back to know where we are going should always be better than where we are coming from. So in terms of the tax reform, it actually, we're talking about, it's a complex and technical thing. There are four bills, actually, four bills. So in fact, it's just one of them, which you have just mentioned. And maybe because that is the one that is causing a lot of rancor among the governors and everything. In actual fact, it's actually the concept of derivation that is causing the problem. We can sit down together and look at this thing. It's so simple. For instance, I can tell you for free, again, another area that people are not looking at is the stylish scrapping of education tax. And having been replaced without you now fund the NEL fund, the loan fund scheme. There's other gray areas. There are a lot of gray areas, but I can tell you, reform is the right step in the right direction.
All right. Now, thank you very much, our guest. But generally, for the understanding of our people listening this morning, your assessment of the tax reform that you have about Mr. Taiwo Oyedele, who happened to chair that committee, have done a good job with this committee. Now, from your assessment, what will you tell the listener this morning? Is it going to lift their burden on one part and at the same time make the funding, money available to government at the end of the day in the terms of capturing more people and efficient collection of taxes?
Thank you very much. Let me first of all say this. One major reason why tax reform is really done is for revenue generation. That's number one. That is the first thing that we see. We now have more money coming to the governments who is saddled with the responsibility of doing a lot of things for us, from providing social benefit and all the rest. So on that one side, that is one. Indeed, to have revenue, more revenue, that comes into that aspect. Again, it now ranges from revenue generation to efficiency in our tax system. In between, we start talking about a lot of advantage. So let me tell you this. Tax is an instrument that does a lot of things for us. One of the things that you just mentioned is, yes, more money is available to the government. But we should always do and always try to be a good citizen too. By paying our taxes. But this time around, it's less burden. There are a lot of nuisance taxes that are going now that are going to get away as a result of this system. So whether you are an individual, you are paying your tax as an individual, or you are an entity, small businesses, there are a lot of goodies in that particular reform. It's a win-win. I told you earlier, it's a win-win for everybody. However, there are gray areas. There are gray areas. Honestly, it's a win-win, and we can always improve on it.
Hello, Dr. Kenny. Okay, we seem to be having issues, so let's open the lines once again before we will rejoin Dr. Kenny Shoyemi this morning on the program Morning Flight. Dr. Kenny, are you back? Okay, 0803-437-9453, 0815-032-0226. Hello, good morning. Good morning,
to
sir.
you, sir.
earning more to pay more above that. That's where we start to talk about the function.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Awobajo.
Now, is our guest still there?
Yes, our guest is back.
Okay. Hello, good morning.
Dr. Shoyemi?
I'm with you. I am with you. I'm still here.
Okay.
Okay, Dr. Shoyemi, it's interesting to know that some of our lawmakers actually picked the value added tax, which,
Some of what? It seems interesting to know that.
yes, some of Nigerians who have expressed concern over the bill have actually picked the value added tax part of the bill. They're frowning at the fact that it's saying that there would be a progressive increase from the present 7.5% and progressively up to as high as 30%. But the argument of some people is that some of the goods that will be so taxed will be goods that will not even affect the common man at all. But looking at the notoriety of Nigeria and Nigerians, people are concerned because if it starts, you just discover it is covering almost everything, even goods that are supposed to be exempted from such capture.
Let me quickly react to this. To start with, it's an indirect tax, which you and I can avoid. You see, I must tell you, the idea of tax and taxation is a technical thing. It is a technical thing. I disagree with that. VAT is actually a consumption tax, which you and I can avoid. Let me on the other side of the road from a woman that is selling under the booker. Or we have a choice to enter a restaurant. So by eating in that particular place, we have actually avoided that tax system. Now let me tell you something. One of the areas of previous tax reforms is to have our attention drawn to indirect taxes rather than direct taxes. It is the indirect taxes that you can share burden, that you can avoid. You and I can avoid VAT. Now let me also state this again. There are a lot of goods that common man consumes that have been removed from the idea of VAT. I disagree with that. So that's it. You have to first of all know that it's a tax that you and I can avoid. That's number one. Again, it's an indirect tax which you pay without you knowing that you are even paying. So by so doing that, the first thing that I will advise, I will suggest that let us make our consumption such that we can always avoid all this part of the thing. So that we can avoid. Again, most of the goods within the reach of the common man have been removed from VAT totally. They are not exempted. While some are zero rated. Yes, it is a good thing. You will see that the rich are the people that consumes more in the area of where you are. For instance, when you go to an hotel now, you stay in an hotel, it's valuable. It's valuable. So, as good as this part is concerned, we are just expressing our view that they are going to start increasing it slightly. Yes, no problem about that. But it's a fact that you and I can avoid. We should know that.
Okay.
It's an indirect tax.
All right, Dr. Kenny, do Nigerians have any reason to be apprehensive? And then what would be your advice to Nigerians generally towards this particular bill going forward?
And to add to that, what's the way forward for Nigerians who evade tax?
You see, Nigerians have the right to be apprehensive with anything. Even aside from this tax reform, we are always apprehensive of a lot of things. But I must confess, when it comes to tax, there is no need to be apprehensive about it. There is no apprehension. Only what we need to do is to study it, consult our tax experts. They will tell you what to do, and you will see that at the end of the day, there is no need for any apprehension on this. Yes? If there is going to be an apprehension, but there is also a good thing on that particular reform that you and I are going to enjoy. I said it earlier, the gray areas, we should try to clean it up. And then, for instance, look at what the governors and the northern Nigeria are doing now. And they now gathered their experts, northern elder forum, not this elder forum now. They want to now look into it. The same thing South is now doing. If they look into it, there are good things that are happening there. The gray area, yes, there can be wider consultation, even though the bill has passed through second reading in Senate. So our apprehension is ill advised. Yes, I must confess that. For some of us that are tax experts, we know yes, tax will continue to be with us. That is something that we must say. But my advice is this, on the other side now, my advice is this. One area that we are not even doing, I will say that in the Nigerian tax policy, there is also the provision for tax accountability, which we are not working towards. There is tax accountability that is the government now. Who is going to be collecting this money? Now, how are they going to use this money? That is the area that you and I, as citizens that are going to be paying the taxes, are supposed to be more apprehensive. We should now be more on tax accountability rather than a tax that's going to be imposed that you and I don't have any choice. We must pay taxes, something that we must do to be a good citizen. In the countries that we are, nothing is free. Now, okay, let me tell you something. Recently, I just came back from the UK. I'll tell you what happened. I wanted to eat myself. I want to pee. Then my brother told me that if I'm going to pay, I'm doing that. I said, don't worry, I'll get home. It's a form of levy. And when you do that, okay, what then happens is that they're using that money to maintain that place. We should not run to it. It's one good thing. We must be ready to sacrifice. And one of the sacrifices is to be ready to pay more as taxes. Then let us now demand tax accountability. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Even though I asked the question forward for those people that evade tax.
Okay, for those who that pay tax, I just answered the question.
That evade, that tax evasion. I meant tax evasion.
Oh, tax evasion.
Yes. Yes.
That is criminal. It's a simple thing. Let me just tell you, a former U.S. president who was involved in tax evasion paid for it dearly. Tax evasion is a criminal offense. Rather than evading tax, we can avoid taxes. There's tax avoidance, there's tax evasion. There's no two way about tax evasion. It's criminal. And the punishments are there. Of course, if you don't pay your taxes, yes, there are penalties. And there are even for late payments, yes, there are penalties too. So I would advise that let us be good citizens. Let us pay our taxes, but let us now demand more of tax accountability. We can do tax avoidance, which is a good way, a legal way of avoiding tax, using the loopholes in the tax system. You can actually arrange your affairs to pay no tax. But to evade is actually a serious punishment and it's actually not a good thing.
Okay. All right, thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Kenny Shoyemi. Thank you for being a part of our discuss this morning. Thank you. Do have a wonderful day. Thank you. Yep. No problem. All right, many thanks also to the production crew. We had as news editors Elizabeth Kufuruji and Bisi Musari, Folake Shweton in charge of ICT. Dotun Ido has been the studio manager. And this is the production of Shola Onide. My name is Titilope. Awobajo. Have a wonderful day.
I'm Debo. Adeyinka. Have a nice day.